You didn't hear about this yesterday? That a victim in a sworn deposition says she was on an island with underage girls with Bill Clinton on the Epstein Island? You missed that? It's not your fault you missed it. Again, we're dealing with media outlets who will do anything, even protecting people accused of grotesque horrors like this, because they're liberal activists. I have a contact, let's say. Again, this is his story, not mine. So I want to be clear. I'm not hiding from you the details. I don't have them until he gives them to me. Right. But approached me a while ago and was on an aircraft with Epstein and former President Bill Clinton and made a very serious allegation. By the way, this is an unimpeachable contact. This is not some, tinfoil cap wearing lunatic I ran into in a bagel store somewhere. This is an unimpeachable contact with the utmost integrity. And made a very serious allegation that Clinton was on this plane with Epstein, and there was a room in the back of the plane. There were what appeared to be underage girls on the plane, and that the former president happened to disappear into one of those rooms with one of these underage girls. Why you would be doing that, you can probably fill in the blanks for yourself. I'm just telling you what I've been told. It was serious enough to that person that he refused to be part of this anymore and spoke out. And I'm assuming, hasn't contacted me in a while. That is probably talking about it with hopefully law enforcement and others. It's real. That call happened. And again, it is not my information, because inevitably whenever this show airs and I bring this up, again, I'm swearing to you on every fiber of my soul and being that this call happened as I said it. People say, well, why are you holding? I'm not holding out. It's not my information. I don't have the rest of it. That's what I have. That's what I've been permitted to share, because that's all I have to share. It was frightening the way he described it. Came out later. Who knows what went on back there? But it's a gross story. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was Jeffrey Epstein's confidant, right-hand woman, was around him all the time. Some of the victims in this ongoing investigation gave depositions, spoke to law enforcement. This happened over a course of time, and the documents have now been released, and they are troubling, which indicate exactly what I just told you, that this guy was a really, really deeply disturbed human being, Epstein, and the people who found this guy, what's the appropriate way to say it, Joe? Enjoyable to be around, are probably just as sick as he is. That's the kind of thing. When you agree, Joe, if you're like hanging around that, it's not like we've all had a friend we find out later did something shady and we're like, what? Right? In the past, you're like, hey, that guy in college sold weed or something. You're like, really? He's such a nice guy. Like, nobody's confused when you're hanging around a dude who has a group of young women around him doing things. Like, nobody's confused. We get that, right? That's not confusing. They're young because they're young. You can tell. No 15-year-old looks like a 40-year-old. Everybody understands this, right? I'm talking to the liberals out there who want to defend Epstein because they know some of their friends may go down. And to the sane people out there, that's not what's happening here. The people who've chosen to hang around this guy, including the former president, Bill Clinton, are really disgusting. There's no mystery what's going on. Did anybody think to ask? Like, hey, dude, why do you have a bunch of teenagers hanging around you? Did anybody think to ask that? Can you even imagine? Like, we hang out with a very limited group of people, but they're successful, really nice people. Can you even imagine showing up at their house and there's like 15, 13, and 14 and 15-year-olds over the house, and there's no relate. Oh, are these your cousins? No, they're just what? Like, you call the cops. There's no mystery here. There's no, I didn't know. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to court document number 1. Oh, big hat tip, by the way. Hat tips are always appropriate. To Technofog at techno_fog on Twitter. I believe he's on Parler too. I don't even know if it's a he. It could be a she. But great account all over the legal stuff of the day. That's where he got some of these screenshots from. So hat tip to Technofog. Let's get right to this. Here's screenshot number 1. So this is one of the court documents. In the motion, they talk about, quote, Epstein also sexually trafficked the then minor Jane Doe, obviously that I can use her name, making her available for sex to politically connected and financially powerful people. So I'm trying to keep the show family friendly. So folks, this segment may, we're going to try to avoid the really horrible stuff, but you get what I'm saying. So Epstein sexually trafficked minors to powerful people. Some of the names. Unbelievable. Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. Miss Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell. Jean-Luc Brunel. And Alan Dershowitz. Again, this is just in the court documents. I'm just reading the names that have been uncovered in these court documents. Wow. We will not be providing cover here for anyone for any reason. I have a teenage daughter. This is disgusting. Seriously grotesque. Let's go to screenshot number 2 in case you think those were the only people mentioned here. Here's a victim interview. So they say, hey, when they're talking to one of the victims, when you say you asked him, why is Bill Clinton here? Where was here? In other words, they're asking one of the victims, so Bill Clinton was there? Well, where was here? She says, on the island. They're talking about Epstein's pervert island. When you were present with Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton on the island, who else was there? The victim says, Ghislaine, Emmy, and there were 2 young girls that I could identify. I never really knew them well anyways. It was just 2 girls from New York. Folks, again, I got goosebumps talking about this. Like, what kind of a sick pervert is this guy? If this testimony is real, and again, even the worst people on the planet are entitled to the presumption of innocence in our justice system. But if this testimony is real, and Bill Clinton was on Pervert Island with underage girls, serious question here, Bill. You didn't think to ask who they were or what they were doing on an island? Underage girls, you weren't curious? Who did you think they were? By the way, how is this not the lead story in the New York Times? Oh, because it's Bill Clinton. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, if that name was Donald Trump, this would be a front page story from now to the end of time. It would be a permanent front page story. You didn't hear about this yesterday? That a victim in a sworn deposition says she was on an island with underage girls with Bill Clinton on the Epstein Island? You missed that? It's not your fault you missed it. Again, we're dealing with media outlets who will do anything, even protecting people accused of grotesque horrors like this, because they're liberal activists.
You just heard Dan Bongino.